right, everybody, welcome back to At Home Learning Live. I am so excited to be back with you today, and so excited to be sharing with you my book. I know I posted pictures yesterday of a giant shipment coming in the mail, and if I've reached out to you, family, friends, you're going to be getting your copy soon. If you haven't gotten one yet, it's on Amazon as well. I cannot thank you all for the support so far. It's been absolutely amazing to see the outpouring of support for Teach, Play, Learn. And I wanted to take today to kind of dive in and tell you a little bit about the book and how it came to be, some of the key parts of it, and then talk a little bit about some of the people that helped me with the writing of it. So let's just dive in. So Teach, Play, Learn has been a work of heart in the making for a little over a year. It was about a year and a few months that it took to write. But I've been asked quite a bit about a lot of questions about what does it cover, what subjects, and then what kind of research was done. So I want to first say that this is not any kind of study that I did. I'm going to be full on honest with you that it's not research per se that I did. It's 13 years of me, or 14 years of me in a kindergarten classroom, and my heart and soul from that time poured out into the pages of these books for all of you. Now, a lot of what we did during these times was research-based. It was meeting all the standards we had to do, and really that's what this book is about. So the tagline for the book, or the subtitle for the book, is How to Create a Purposeful, Play-Driven Classroom. Now, what that means is we're not taking this and just completely changing everything you do. That's not the idea of this mindset at all. It's taking things that kids want to do and mixing it with the things that we have to do. So there's a big difference between the two sometimes, and you all know that as teachers. So what we're trying to do is mix all the things that we have to teach, but do it in a way that's fun, not only for the kids, but for us to teach as well too. And that's what this whole book is about. So Teach, Play, Learn, How to Create a Purposeful, Play-Driven Classroom. Got to give another shout out to all my friends and family at Dave Burgess Consulting, Inc. for taking on this project with me and seeing it through to the end. And here it is. So we use a couple different terms quite a bit. We use play-driven and play-based. Play-driven for the classroom environment itself, but play-based for the type of teaching and learning that's going on. So when we talk about play-driven, it's like restructuring your classroom or your mindset to think about this way to get the kids learning through play-based activities. But you're going to see as you read through the whole book that everything I talk about is tied back to standards in some way, or I tell you how easily you can tie it back to standards in your own classroom, because it's really not that hard to do. So I want to go into, first, I have to thank all of our endorsers for this too. So in the beginning of the book, you're going to see that right away. I had some pretty awesome, amazing friends write some endorsements for this. One of my college professors, Craig Vivian, my friend Jessica Travis, my friend Hillary Statham, my friend Kim Bearden, our friend Adam Zavico, my friend Dr. Lori Elliott, and my good friend and co-host of the Classroom Collaborative, Dee Dee Wills. So I have to thank those people for writing the awesome endorsements that they did. Then you're going to flip through and you're going to see all of the, well, you can't skip over the dedication page. This was very important to me. As you all know, if you followed me for some time, my father-in-law passed away last summer. And I know that he probably wouldn't have read the book, but I know he would have been super proud of it. So that's who I dedicated the book to. So it's for my father-in-law, Ken, who would have loved this book. And I was going to put in there whether he read it or not, but I just know he would have loved it. And then the contents. So we broke this book down, myself, along with the awesome team at DBC and the reading list, our editors, broke this down into chapters that kind of sum up everything we wanted to talk about in 4 easy-to-read chapters, along with a forward, an introduction, and a conclusion. So it's a quick read. A lot of you have already posted that you've read it, and I thank you and thank you and thank you for continuing to do so. But I have to mention the forward for this because I still don't know how this happened, but I just reached out to her on a whim. And my friend, Dr. Jean Feldman, you all know her as a guru of play-based learning and finger plays and songs and everything early childhood, wrote the foreword for this book for me. And it is awesome. And she does really break down some of the research as to why this is important and the proof as to why learning through play is important. Good morning, Miss Houston. So Dr. Jean, thank you for writing this amazing foreword that you did. And then we go on to my introduction. And I want to read for you the first sentence because this one always gets me. I said, wait a minute. Can you repeat that? You're a teacher? And I put that in there because, and you'll read it as you see why I explain that. Because I was not the best student when I was younger. Sometimes I did all of my work. I did what I had to do, but I got into some trouble here and there. And I don't think anybody, including myself, would have thought that I would become a teacher until about high school, when I really started finding my love for this. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I want you to read it. But I really talk about my why, not only for becoming a teacher, but for becoming the teacher that I was. And I really break down some things from my childhood and my awesome childhood that I had thanks to my amazing parents and my brother and sister, and talk about all these things that led me, without knowing it, to be a play-driven or play-based mindset teacher in the future. So the introduction really breaks that down. As far as from my childhood up through college, I kind of get real with you and talk to you about my struggles through college that I had. I hope some of you can understand that we all go through things and relate to that. And then I point out the key people who helped me get through that. Number one being my now wife, amazing wife, Trisha, who at the time we had started dating, and she helped me get through college. And then all my amazing professors that helped me realize what teaching really could be. So that's part of the introduction. And then the chapters that we broke this down into, the first one I believe is by far the most important, because it uses a word that we all need to remember when we talk about any type of new thing we're doing in our classroom, and it's the word purpose. So chapter 1 is giving play a purpose. And we break down all the ways to do that in your own classroom. We define what a play-based approach looks like. We show it in action. We talk about playing with a purpose and what that means by tying it back to standards and keeping data and all of that. And it's all, I don't really focus on it too much, but I highlight the doubters. And there are going to be doubters through your journey of any type of new thing you do in your classroom. And I talk about how to address that, not break that down, because everybody has their own opinion. That's okay. But how to address those opinions to show that your purpose has proof, or that there is proof to your purpose. And that's really what you need to do. And then chapter 2 is oldies but goodies. So I'm breaking down games that we've all played since our childhood, from board games, card games, moving games, all kinds of things. So that whole chapter is based on old games that we all know and love, but transforming them to teach in a new way. And a lot of it, one thing I always tell people is that I sincerely hope that these are things you've already done, and these are things you're already doing in your classroom. And maybe this book will just be a little spark to reignite, reignite that spark that you might have lost a few years ago when you forgot about this game or that game or that game, and just add some more fun back to your classroom. Chapter 3 is hands-on fun. So we talk about things like blocks and kitchen sets and cars. And I have to thank, in that section, my good friend Jamie Hubbard wrote an entire little section about dramatic play, which is a huge, huge component of a classroom, regardless of where you are in your mindset. There has to be some socialization and dramatic play and imagination for our little ones. So thank you to Jamie for doing that. I also include some pictures from one of my friends, Nicole, who shared pictures with me from a session we did out in New Jersey. And she took ideas right back to her classroom and included them. So thank you to her. Chapter 4 then, and there's a lot of parts of chapter 3 of hands-on fun and really breaking that down, how you can include everyday items. Chapter 4 then is called Play on the Cheap. And when I first wrote this book, we had talked about making a book all about budget, how to play on a budget. But not everybody is on a budget, and we didn't want to think that it was just ideas that you had to go out and buy, because a lot of this isn't. A lot of this is stuff that you have around your classroom already. So play on the cheap. We talk about science here, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about, one of my favorite chapters to write. I'm talking all about the way we make science cheap, but science extremely playful and fun in our classroom, and how we made it come to life, because really that's what play is all about. One of the things we talk about in defining a play-based approach back in chapter 1 is I highlight the definition of play. And in the definition of play from the dictionary, there are 3 words that I focus on through this whole book. And those words are activity, engagement, and enjoyment. And if you're doing those 3 things, then you're teaching with a play-based mindset. No matter what lesson you're teaching, as long as your kids are active, enjoying themselves, and they're engaged, you're on that path to teach that way. And the way I teach science, along with some help from my good friend Kim Adsit, really covers those 3 things. And then my friend Kim Adsit wrote a section for this chapter called the Dollar Store Teacher Challenge. And I talk about my YouTube series called the Dollar Store Teacher Challenge. But then Kim, who classifies herself as the Dollar Store Diva, writes an entire section, and it's amazing, using everyday items from Dollar Tree to turn them to really fun learning activities for your little ones. And then the conclusion, my favorite co-writer, my wife Trisha, helped write this section, because we talk about, because the conclusion is actually called Play Beyond, just the beginning. The conclusion is called Just the Beginning, because we don't want you to stop after this book. We want you to take all of these ideas from this book and then expand on it and send it out into your own classroom, your students, and the teachers around you. And one thing Trisha has done to do that is getting outside the four walls of her classroom. And in this chapter, she highlights, and I highlight with her, some of the ways that she helped her second graders really push through the boundaries of the four walls and teach beyond the classroom. And I highlight Trisha in that chapter. I also highlight some of my friends who have done some things in my own classroom for me and show some of the ways they've done that in there. So check that out if you get the opportunity. So I have to say thank you to everyone who has taken the chance on purchasing this, and leave a review. Please, please, if you haven't done that, leave a review on Amazon for me. I'd love to read what you have to say about it. I know some of you have already, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. But I'm just super proud of this and super excited about this. I couldn't be prouder of a project I've ever started. It was definitely a work of heart, and I say that all the time. It was a work of heart based on 13 or 14 years of my experience in an early childhood classroom. Now, going back to some of the questions that I've seen on social media, hi, Mom, love you, is that people keep saying, well, there's dice on the cover and there's just game pieces. Is this just for math? And no, it's not. It's not just for math. This is for every subject. Now, I don't really say like, this is the math section, or this is the science, there's the science section, or this is the, reading language arts section, because my hope with this is really setting forth that play-based purpose and play-driven mindset and play-based learning approach. You're going to take all the key aspects of this book and then take those ideas and tie them into any lesson you teach, regardless of the subject and regardless of the grade level. That's the big one. Hi, Danny Lois. Regardless of the grade level. A lot of people keep saying, well, this is, and I'm not going to lie, it is geared towards primary, because that's what I taught. I taught kindergarten, I taught primary grade levels. So a lot of this is geared toward written from a primary perspective. But the challenges that I show in this book and the challenge that I present to teachers in this book is that regardless of what you teach, there is a way to take every lesson you teach and turn it into a play-driven style by using some of these techniques and strategies in this book. So I'm going to leave it with that. I'm not going to tell you how, because I want you to get it. So take the ideas, take the strategies, and drive your own classroom to a play-based approach. That's really what the purpose of this book is. Again, I have to thank everyone that had any hand in this. There were a lot of minds that went into this, a lot of people who influenced me over the years. I mentioned in here all the administration and the staff at the school that I taught at, because if it wasn't for their support in allowing me to teach the way I taught, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you to any administrator I've ever worked for, because you allowed me to teach this way and allowed these ideas to flourish. So I have to give a shout out to them. Thank you, obviously, to my family for being so supportive through the hours and hours and hours of writing and editing and writing and editing and writing and editing. It was a lot of work, but it's here. So you can get it on Amazon. Just search Teach, Play, Learn, Adam Peterson. The link is in all of my stuff, and I'll put the link below. A lot of people have been asking about the Kindle version. There is a Kindle version there, but if you scroll down or look for it, just look for the paperback version. I'm going to remind you again that if you purchase on Amazon, make sure that it is sold and shipped by Amazon, not a third-party seller, to make sure you're getting the actual quality book that you want from DBC. And then you might not know this, but you can actually go to daveburgessconsulting.com, click on books, scroll down to Teach, Play, Learn, and you can actually see a preview of my book with the forward and some other sneak peeks of it that you can read to see if this is something you want to purchase for your school. Now, a lot of people have been asking about that as well, a book study. And that's going to happen. We are going to do a book study, as I think now during this time of being quarantined and off and everybody learning through play at home and trying to promote that, a book study would be perfect. So stay tuned to all social media for some stuff in the future about that, because it will be coming and we will do that. I was going to say something else about that. Book study, social media. Oh, the book. So go check it out on there. And then if your school is interested in purchasing, all that information is there as well too, because we want to get this into the hand of as many teachers, but also parents right now too, because parents could use these ideas at home 100% right now. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek. I do want to show you some of the pictures too, because I have to thank everybody. This is one of my favorite pictures in it. This is my son and I, and we talk about that in the book. Miss Fusen, who's watching this, I have to thank her for sending me this picture of myself when I was in kindergarten. She found an old yearbook, and that's me when I was in kindergarten and my son when he was in kindergarten. And in the book, we talk about why that is there. And then all of my past students who had any part in being in this book, got to thank you all as well. I know a lot of you saw my book review that I shared out, or my book promotion that I shared out of my little buddy who said that you need to go pick up the book. And I have to show you, he's in the book, and I'm so excited that he gets to see it because he's been dying to get his copy. That's my little buddy from my classroom. We talk about how we use something like a Plinko board to teach a lot of lessons. That was something we did years ago, and that's one of my favorite pictures. And then Trisha's class too. I went into Trisha's classroom and we took some pictures, and there's some of her students in here as well. So it really is full of my heart from my classroom, and I hope you enjoy it. I really do. I sincerely hope, like I said, that these are ideas you've done before, and then just reignite your passion to want to do it again. But from the bottom of my heart, from my family, thank you to everyone who has purchased a copy so far, who has thought about purchasing a copy, who has left a review, who has shared a picture on social media. And thank you to Dave Burgess and Shelly Burgess and everyone at DBC for taking the chance on this and seeing it through the end with me and developing this awesome, awesome book that you can all get. So I'll put the link in the comments below. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, Olivia is going to join me again to talk about some really cool ways to make your own story books come to life at home. And I'm so excited about that. We'll be back tomorrow for a live at-home learning at 9 a.m. Central. Thank you all. Go get your copy of Teach, Play, Learn, and let me know what you think.